Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to today's Cashflow Digital, sponsored by ODYS that Mike is kindly tapping on if you want to take advantage of a $100 sign-up bonus if you're looking for age domains to kickstart your affiliate journey. So do check them out.
The one that I just recently set up is starting to pop off. I checked analytics right before I hopped on here. It's looking good.
Good. I think a lot of people have had success with age domains, and why the hell wouldn't you leverage some shit?
You know what we're testing right now? It's funny. Mike and I were geeking out and laughing a little bit yesterday. Otis domains plus Fiverr.
Do you know, I was going to say that there. I was
traffic.
No, it's hilarious.
Yeah, he showed me analytics. It's like, whoop, and the site's been up for a while. We just haven't pushed it or anything, and no links to it, or aside from what came with it, I believe. And
I would say 100% increase. Actually, it's more than 100% increase in actual clicks. 100% increase in impressions potentially from a single Fiverr gig that was $100.
Yeah, 100 something. Yeah, it's funny.
Yeah, it's kind of funny.
We need to do another show
with fucking spun content.
Super tempted to make the event about like networks with Fiverr, dude. Like straight up super interested in doing an event, like a one-day thing or something, and showing how to push a network with Fiverr and make money with Fiverr.
Yeah, I'm replacing them with a lot of the stuff that I have my web dev do normally, because there's always accountability on Fiverr. So
yep,
that's what we like, accountability.
That's right. It's something you won't get from me, but I like to have it. So
did I see Durrani was over on the SEO video show, or is that coming up this week, Ryan?
I think it came out yesterday or some shit like that. So
he's releasing shit not on just Fridays.
Yeah,
gotcha.
I still need to reply to him.
I would like to see. I want to see that conversation. I always like listening to Ryan's thoughts, man.
Ryan's a good, smart guy. But you should go on the SEO video show, Brad. That is.
Yeah,
you have a scheduled time, don't you?
No, I never replied. I said
he reminded me. He's like, remind Brad. I'm like, I did remind Brad.
Yeah, he did, Ryan.
Because he wants to pull you on there, dude. So
yeah, everyone does.
But we know Ryan is the handsomest SEO in the world.
Who?
Ryan Durrani.
That's not what I heard.
That's what I heard.
I heard it was between me and Diggity, so there's no competition there, to be honest. So.
What if we're going off of the hand size?
I've got palms, but I don't have big.
I haven't heard anyone complain about your hand size, but I have heard people complain about Diggity's hand size. So
yeah, he's not a big human being, is he?
Nah, he's quite a small.
Yeah.
I don't know why they're complaining about hand size, but they are.
Oh, you got these Trump fans out there.
Yeah. You can only build them so fast, and it's affected by your hand size. It's hand edging.
Hand edging. Well, I think that actually is a thing, Mike. But nothing for this show.
Ruin it.
Yeah. Always ruining it.
We do state edging. I need to check in on that. Have you checked that URL? Speaking of state edging tests that we're running.
No, I have not. I have not this week. Actually, that's a good point.
Yeah, I need to check on that. He said it was about done.
But someone in my mastermind, they were joking earlier. It was Ryan Durrani actually mentioning aging links, and some motherfucker has bought linkaging.com, but no one knows who it is.
Nice.
Is that you, Mike?
I don't know. No, it's not me.
Yeah, it would be.
The days of me buying funny domains is over. I did that when I was high all the time, so I'm trying not to repeat the thing. It's not good when you start seeing money flow out of the bank account for domains,
especially when they're on auto.
Yeah.
What's funny though is I actually bought nfgseo.com way before we decided to use it. I was talking to Toomey one day, and we were talking about no fucks given and all that stuff. And I was like, I wonder if nfgseo.com is available. He's like, I don't know. So I looked, and it was, and I bought it like a full year.
I should have kept working with Toomey because he ended up with Mastermind, and you ended up with NFG, dude. I don't know. Mastermind, NFG.
You can go work with Toomey. I think he has a 9-to-5 now.
I'm good.
And hello, Tommy Butler.
We should have him on randomly sometime too.
To me, why not? Why not?
I had to get him out of SEO because then he would be the prettiest man in SEO. So don't tell him I said that.
What's up, Carl? I swear that someone's knees are gonna break every time I see that picture, dude.
Well, Carol Morley's.
He looks like he collects debt for a living, dude, like with a baseball bat.
He looks like he just got hit with a baseball bat.
No, he looks like he is gonna shoot a motherfucker in the face if they say the wrong word.
A knuckle breaker.
Yeah, he's a knee breaker.
Yep.
I love
good rafting.
What's that, Craig?
Carol's a nice guy, man.
I'm sure. I just like the picture. There's a movie over here that it reminds me of.
Have you seen the new Top Gun? Speaking of movies.
No, I did not.
I heard that is fantastic, but I had to go and watch the old one. And it was funny because Kelsey asked, she's like the main woman in Top Gun, the first one in '86. And Kelsey's like, is she in the new one? It's like, no. Why not? And I pulled up a current picture of her and showed her. She's like, oh. That's
funny. What kind of martial arts, Carl? What's interesting is in town we have 2 screens. It's like a really bad theater, but they're playing the old Top Gun right now. They don't have the new one yet.
It's on Paramount.
Or anything, but the guy that owns the theater was a jet fighter pilot, dude.
Nice.
And so he brought all of his old shit in, and now when people go to the movie, it's all there, and he like answers questions and all this. And
that's cool.
His story days, dude.
You got to have some balls to do that.
Yeah, for sure.
And you've got to have some balls to fight Carol. So, Brad, I think if Carol jumps over for the next MFG, it's him you should be fighting.
Are kicks allowed or no, Carl?
You used to do Wadi Ryu to start with, whatever Wadi Ryu is.
It's like karate, if I'm not mistaken.
Is it?
Or a form of it. Any Filipino stuff? Any like Indonesian shit, Carl? I love that stuff, man. That's my favorite.
Are we still talking about fighting styles or?
Yeah. Serp shaker for scraping the serps. Can you help me with a nice link, please? I think we can find a serp shaker.
Serpshaker.com. Simple as that.
But it does not.
It's not indexed. It's not. So if you Google Serp Shaker, for some reason
it's a pain in the ass to find it.
Yeah. But it is serpshaker.com. Spelt the way you've done it. Honestly, this COVID shit's still here, man.
It's not fun when you hit it and it hits you long, dude. It's really fun. Did it give your heart any trouble? Like, do you have any more? Like, you're not skipping beats or anything? Like while you're recovering?
Nothing like that, man. Just it's in the chest just now, and I can't get a fucking doctor's appointment, man. But hey,
I have a topic today, and it is essential, like on-page shit. And
someone asked me right before this, they're like, "Do you have a topic for that show today?" I was like, "Fuck no." I was like, "I never have a topic."
I have a topic, baby. I have a bunch of topics and tips, but
just the tip today.
So there is this article. I think this is the one that I pulled up. There was one that was coming. It came out about EAT, and I kind of wanted to start like with EAT and the fact that the quality. And I kind of want to ask the audience what they think the fuck it is. Actually, what's EAT? What is EAT really?
Would I do it at a buffet?
Hey.
You're doing EAT.
That's what I'm eating.
How do you measure EAT?
My wife just said running to the store. I said drive, it'll be faster.
Dude.
I think.
How do you measure EAT, guys?
It's hard to measure as such. Is there such a thing to measure it? The answer is no.
How long is a piece of string, Craig? Just tell us.
4 foot. But nah, I think expertise, authority, and trust. I think, it depends on what level. Obviously in the medic niche, they would expect to see you on some medic white papers, and I think you would really have to push the boundaries to make sure you were seen as an authority as a doctor or some shit like that. However, for someone like us in the SEO space, I think it's not as aggressive. Obviously, you don't have to be in fucking Google patents or anything like that. But getting yourself out there, linked with other, credible sources like your SEMrushes or whatever it might be.
I like what you just said about link, because that's literally like the only thing Google has truly identified as a factor in what EAT is or what page quality is. And it says in their updates, what page is it? Let me see. I think I have it right here.
Page 12.
Yeah, so it is their how they fight disinformation, and it says how does Google do Google's algorithms assess expertise, authority, and trustworthiness. The first bullet point is Google's algorithms identify signals about pages that correlate with trustworthiness and authoritativeness. The best known of these signals is PageRank, which uses links on the web to understand authoritativeness. So they definitely, I think that when you hit on the linking thing, I think that people start to see like core updates. They start looking for all these different things when we really kind of have an idea of what Google wants to know about a page so that they can deliver it for people. And if they're identifying PageRank, when you start hearing people say that links aren't important, and there's a guy that pushes a bunch of content marketing and talks about how you should never link build. I have some problems with that, saying that you should never link build. I mean, what do you guys think?
It's just the height of stupidity. Anyone who does say that, you know, the internet is links. We've established that over the years, and yeah, I don't buy into that shit, and I don't even like commenting on it. You know what people will say? Like, let me put it this way: let's say I'm some shitty little plumber in Glasgow. How can I possibly write content that people are organically going to link to? Really? Come on, man. Like, saying I do 24-hour plumbing services and stuff. So unless you're Coca-Cola, you're not going to get what Google or these people claim, you know, good organic links for amazing content or whatever.
No one's going to link to a fucking plumber.
Exactly.
And that's the interesting thing. What makes sense, like with a plumber, to me, is if there is someone who's a contractor, that's a general contractor that hires people, then having a link from a contractor to a plumbing page makes sense from the same area because they're cross-related businesses. That's why I think link trades always work so well. Like I don't say worked, always work so well, is because a lot of the time when you're able to trade a link with another business, it's absolutely related to what Google is looking for in that SERP, and I identify everything as like a SERP rather than like, oh, plumbing. This is reading on EAT is important, and when you can jump into that and you have the contractor who maybe all these other contractors or subcontractors work for this one contractor, link to them because they do business together when they build new homes, and then he links to them as well, and now you have this cluster of localized businesses that are all a part of construction, and they're linking to each other. That makes a lot of sense.
And make sure to build it on a Wix site because it seems like that's the only thing that those fucking contractors ever want to use.
I prefer the plugin though, like honestly, because like in that situation,
that's what that is made for.
Exactly. It's the best way is like, okay, in that case, when you're looking at this, what will organically and naturally happen in a local SERP, they're all verified businesses. They're all in GMB. Jordan mentioned MLA citations in the chat down there, and all of these each have them, which is increasing their authority themselves, and then they're linking back and forth and increasing it.
And it's a natural tiered link building as well, like automatically.
Exactly. And that's what, if you read the way that the patents are written about bot and what a cluster and the clusterizer does, it literally looks for categorization of the categorizer part categorizes pages. So you've got that plumbing site. Maybe they do construction, but they also do 24-hour emergency. So that now becomes, they got a link from the construction people, this general contractor. So that page is a part of a plumbing cluster. It's a part of a construction cluster. It's a part of a business cluster. Like, it's a part of all these freaking clusters. And it because of everything going on underneath these real businesses, well, now they're able to analyze and put an actual score and math on what is authoritativeness and maybe what is trust, depending on what algorithms in that market go towards determining trust. So authoritativeness and trust we have right there. Like they say PageRank. PageRank is kind of a broad barrel of different things because they have patents for topical PageRank, personalized PageRank, like all of that kind of shit. So we kind of can look at that and usage metrics as those things. So what is expertise then? Like, so we got that. I think we, as an industry, really have the A and T down from E, but I think a lot of people kind of fall off on the expertise part. Do you guys have any thoughts on that?
I think if you go back to the MLA stuff, that would be a way to do it, like a well built out entity. Like if you're in rehab or anything closely related to medical, having a doctor associated with your website that is cited him or herself would improve everything. So that's a way to add expertise.
And absolutely, there's stuff that we've been able to do with like Scholar and using, I mean, we've seen it in rehab when you add certain people and certain doctors and connect that entity of that doctor to a facility or a website in those kind of your money or your life places, it really actually kicks ass, right? So those absolutely work. But then at some point you can fake that. If you've been smart, you've been making profiles, you have to trust everybody.
I never fake it, Mike.
No, you never do. Never. But she does, right?
She has to.
Right? Or you feel
my ego is fragile.
And so on the expertise side, though, if we can fake that part, how can Google kind of like update the search? And like the way I look at it is, it comes down to what you're talking about on the fucking page, right? If you're not talking about everything you need to talk about on a page, how can you be a fucking expert about
on that specific page and what's clustered around it?
Right.
Like
exactly.
Supporting articles come into play at that point, I think.
And that's actually really interesting because the data is back on internal linking. And a lot of people that I'm seeing that were like top 3, 4, 5 are on page 6 because of what they've done with their internal link structure. And so when they do these core updates, they always talk about EAT and they always talk about all of this stuff. Right now, what we're seeing is there's like 2 major fucking pain points for people. And it comes down to literally they're missing what is supposed to be on their page, because when broad cores happen, and on a regular daily basis, Google's updating their understanding. And you can see in their warnings, like they say, what can you expect from a broad core? They talk about it's a re-understanding or a re-analysis of the content that's in that market right now, meaning that the market is changing. So the content that's supposed to be in there has to change. And so it isn't a penalty. It isn't this kind of like decrease, then you're penalized like a penguin thing back in the day. It is, okay, you are now not an expert anymore about the topic because you have fallen off on your optimization. Oh, like 80% of the time, that is what we see. I would maybe even less on this update, less. There's a ton of internal stuff when it comes to the actual internal linking that we're seeing directly around the expertise of the content, right? The way they're doing it inside of their websites. And I think that a lot of, go ahead. Or am I hearing things?
I think you're hearing things.
Probably hearing things, dude. A lot of it is coming down to people listening to bad advice at this point, listening to old advice, doing things that aren't necessarily going to put them on the right path for their pages, internal linking, and not being able to collect the right data, not even knowing how to collect the right data to make.
How do you collect the right data?
The search, 100% the search, 100% see what's going on in the search, right? Well, you absolutely can say this kind of shit because what is Panda, right? It was linking. It was just like Penguin was content and Panda was content. They're both linking content. They all tie together to like determine, okay, what is this thing about? Oh, this is about something and it seems spammy, so we can do this and that. It's context. It's the page. Absolutely, I think you can say it that way. It really comes down to, are you optimized properly? I think the one way that we made it, the last person understand that really was having a problem with it, like a larger client, when we showed them that they had pages, when they had said, oh no, we're the experts, we are right, they're not ranking as high as they were. When we show them the fact that they're not talking about something that they should have been talking about, and they're like, holy shit, they could see it because they knew it was important to the industry. They just had not bothered to update pages for that new knowledge. And so experts don't forget, right? Experts put the fucking information on the page. Experts don't leave information.
You're not supposed to forget.
Well,
I mean, Google can't read your fucking mind. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And
we're working on it, but
so realistically, these kind of updates, you can press a button if you have the right data, if you know what data to collect and you have the right kind of software, you have the right desktop stuff, you can press a button and be back to where you need to be, like pretty much automatically. It's kind of cool what they're doing right now because it makes it much easier. But you really have to understand what that data is. And I think that EAT is actually very easy to see and visualize and fix for people. I think they just need to figure out and really like dig into and see what it is. I think there's questions. I'll stop talking.
Going back to Emil's question, the MLA citations, if you go over to AmericanAddictionCenters.org and go to any of their internal articles, you'll see what we're talking about. If you scroll to the bottom, if any
you want to pull it up, Craig? No. MLA citations.
Yeah, basically you'll see the numbers for the citations, and at the bottom you'll see sources. It's just like you're writing a term paper in college is how you want to do it. And they do all their clustering at the bottom and throughout the article and stuff like that. But at the very bottom you'll see sources, and you'll see where they actually cited the sources that they got the information from. So
right, that makes sense.
Yeah, so if you need a pretty good example, I run into them quite a bit when I'm doing research, so I knew that would help. It's AmericanAddictionCenters.org. If you want to go to the specific page I'm on, what's that?
I can pull it up. Hold on, I'll share the screen. I'm trying to get a different tab open. We'll show them.
Yeah, I'll send you the specific link I'm talking about if you want it. I mean, it could be any of them, but
shoot that over, and I'll drop it up, and then you can
shot it.
Where'd you shoot it?
Private chat.
Oh, I can't. Oh, I don't think I can see that.
Go up to where comments are, and you can switch over to private chat.
Oh, I can see it. I thought only the Mr. Big Guy over here could see it. Mr. Big Guy, the boss man here. I thought he was the only one that could see other people's private chat. Let's go. Okay, cool. I could share my screen now. If I know how. I must be patient drug rehab centers. All right. We got it?
Yeah.
You said they have theirs at the bottom, Brad?
Yeah, but you can see them citing it throughout the article.
Yeah,
the numbers.
See it. Let's see.
Like 1, 2, 3 at the end of the sentences and shit.
Yep, I'm looking for one right now so we can show them.
There's like a number 2 at the, how much does inpatient addiction treatment cost? And you'll see a number 2 at the end of that first paragraph, which really makes it a pain in the ass to copy their content to spin it, because you got to take out all those fucking numbers. But
I like how you think.
What's that?
I like how you think.
Yeah.
No, it's very true though, and what's interesting is that I like the way. So not only they're not hop linking down right now. Have you noticed that? Like that they used to. Have you noticed that they used to hop link down to their MLA stuff?
I don't remember seeing them link down to the MLA stuff. But.
Well, and I don't know when this was. It could have been a long time ago. It could have been recently, because we've been looking at this stuff for a while. But what's very interesting is there's a few sites that I've been looking at that that when this core rolled, they tanked, and they were all using table of contents or this kind of jump tag down into their website with off topic, off cluster, keyword cluster, off EAT, like automatically generated table of contents hop links, and it was taking the crap out of their site.
So you're saying because they use sources as a header?
Yeah. So what's interesting, so they had the table of contents, like just any link center, even though this is going internal, they had the internal hop links, right? And like right here, the jump towards section. And so they were jumping down like that, and they were feeding the actual fragment and into the actual URL. So this would have been something like they actually would have fed this blah, 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 keyword, and they would have hopped down with a keyword, but that keyword was completely off topic, right? Not completely off topic, but it wasn't proper for the page it was on. Well, when the core update rolled, I saw a lot of sites that actually all of a sudden Google indexed those links and were starting to feed them into Google Search Console. And because they were all off topic, it not only cannibalized itself, but it threw off the expertise part of that content. So it was no longer actually on point. So it completely tanked off of the top. And the fixes, have brought them back up to, you know, the 1 through 3 and 4 positions. So that was an automatic plugin on WordPress. That's one of those things that I would check if I'm someone using WordPress and I had issues with this last update, because you can see it in the console data that they literally started I say penalizing, but they suppress the pages, because of those hot links. So it's very interesting, and you'll notice right here they're doing all of this without the URL switch, right? And they used to switch URL in here. So I think this is a really good example. If people want to see an example of a page that works really well for all the mum stuff and all the data, these pages are actually set up really well for the current update, like the current broad core state. So this is a really good site to take a look at.
They're ranking for some large keywords, and they always have been.
So I think that's I didn't expect to find that, but that was very interesting to see, because
you didn't find it.
No, I'm talking about the hot.
I'm just fucking with you. I know.
I did not expect to see that, but I'm seeing that a lot, and so big guy with the. I got it. That was funny. All right, let's see. Okay, go ahead.
We've got all sorts of questions here now. But trusted broker reviews.
I would probably skip it. A lot of times the flat silo, like you have it now, it performs better.
I might not. So here's the thing: you can do the silos.
Yeah.
Virtually, instead of redirecting the pages, just like if you have WordPress, use a plugin that changes the sidebar links by a category, so that every time you go into a category, it displays subpages or posts from that category. And you can create the silos with the URL structure you have. The benefit for silos, to me, the way I like them, is the linking. It's the page rank flow, right? It's that authoritativeness, that trust.
Not necessarily the URL structure.
Right. Like that. But be careful, because that right there, like I was mentioning the internal link structure, if you do that wrong and you over optimize or you do something completely off, you will screw up the optimization of the whole site and the individual pages you're targeting. But yes, you can do it without changing the URL structure. And I would try not to change the URL structure if I could, unless there is a reason to do it. And sometimes there are, but in a lot of cases.
We've had clients where it did make sense to change it, because we wanted the keyword in the URL, like 100%. But the way you're doing it, you're going back from that. So I would probably.
If you change the URLs, make sure you do that category properly and like have it be a part of the build out of your page topics, right? So don't over optimize it, but also don't throw everything off. Like if you have pages, like you got to make sure that you are tight with your cluster inside of that silo, and then the subclusters, because if you throw off the optimization, it will dampen the effect and you will hinder your site instead of help it. It won't penalize you, but it will hinder you.
Live IRL fan is suggesting that I interview some music marketing experts. You guys ever done anything like that?
I don't like interviewing people. I should start a Joe Rogan podcast, but I'd have to shave my head again.
There's one YouTube. There's a couple YouTubers that I thought about dragging on here sometime just to talk about how they did it and what they're doing. It's freaking hilarious how some of them do it, man. They really don't expect it to happen.
You think we could get Jake Paul on here?
What's that?
Jake Paul?
Yeah.
That would be fun.
Yeah. After I whoop the shit out of you, I might box him too. It'd be a closer fight than me and you, of course, but you know, I think I got it.
Well, I still think you can like you really can you can actually collect this data and visualize it and still do it kind of the same way. And when you see all the data together, it's very easy. Like it's not hard to know exactly where to put what anchor text on your site and what to use if you collect the data and display it properly. And I think that's a big thing that people have, is that they're using. There's tools that are awesome out there, like we use Surfer for initial optimization and different things. However, there are ways like people go into certain things and use it in a way where it doesn't work optimally, or there's some ways I think that you can pull data a little differently that works. Cognitive SEO is a great example. They do a lot of stuff right and then do some things wrong. But it's all about like I think before that, it's about understanding what you need to look at. I mean, I don't know if I asked anyone in the audience, like, what do you need to look at to make your decisions for optimizing your page or picking keywords to rank for? Like, a lot of the time those answers come back and it's like some tool rather than what really is behind everything, right? But
Thinker has a question. In a reverse silo, is it all right to no follow other commercial links so that it only links to the target and secondary pages?
I never go through the trouble of doing it, but I don't think it'll hurt you.
There's other commercial links. If you're linking to something you want to know follow commercially, it's probably something I can't say that because the data could say differently, but I would not link, if it's my like golden frame, to quote Russell, if it's something about my brand.
Don't quote Russell. I
am not going to be linking to a competing commercial product. If it's a non-competing commercial product, then there's no reason to no follow it. And you do, like, there's actual technical reasons why linking out to shit is important for you. It's not like this PBN thing, link out to Wikipedia all the time. The way the web works, Google expects to find follow-up. They will rank pages based on the follow-up clicks and associate those pages together.
In substance abuse, a lot of times I'll like to find, like for my outbounds, I'll find local news sites talking about the subject, like the opioid epidemic in LA or whatever. And you find a news article and reference that as opposed to someone that's actually competing with you.
100%, dude. And if you're not doing that, like, we were looking at the other day, I was looking at link graphs, right? And link graphs make it super fucking easy to see a real link profile versus a fake link profile. Like, you can see it.
I love that thing in Majestic.
No, dude, it's amazing because you can instantly see, okay, look at this part. This is where they did this, or this is natural, this is fake. And you can see it. And if I can see that and Brad can see that, then Google for sure as hell can see that. So if you're neglecting to link out to these places, like, what people don't understand is it's very easy to qualify a group of websites or a cluster of pages as, okay, I can set this aside as spam, right? I don't need this shit. It's all over here. They can rank for the long tails that they touch on that no one else on because we don't want blank pages. So yeah, you can make it work and get traffic even if it's not looking right, but you might be able to do it better if you understand what you're looking at, right? If that makes sense.
And Dirk is saying there is potential for a tool to be created.
Have one. Go figure.
Mike has been teasing these people with this fucking tool for over a year. And everyone like asked me, hey, when's Mike going to release this fucking tool? I was like,
it's there. I'm waiting for a bunch of stuff to be pulled out this week. I'm hoping it does because it's coming with what we're doing next week with the webinars. Dude.
I'd have made ranking the local rehab site easier.
It's ridiculous how much you can visualize it. Like, took someone through it, one of the students through it because they had dropped on some things, and it was very easy for the maps to see exactly what was missing from the pages. Like
that and a Fiverr gig, and I just checked it. I'm number 2.
Did it? So it came, dude. You kicked up that high?
Yeah, I just checked it. Yeah,
that was like last fucking Wednesday, dude.
Yeah, it's that and the Fiverr gig. And
so what's really funny, what's really funny is John Mueller. He said he was talking. There was I think I have the notes actually. They were talking about keyword domains and are they good for SEO or not? And it went into all this like they used to work, blah 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 blah. We don't like domaining, so we try to filter that out. But he says some things, and he goes. But then again, if you start searching a site and a keyword, then there's some association. But also he got into that the keyword is part of the domain. So it makes sense that they would be ranking for the keyword like a brand would rank for their brand is what he said.
Coca-Cola, yeah.
What's really interesting is when there's brands that, especially in local and smaller like markets, when there are brands that are old and well-known, they become a part of what the cluster needs to have on page to rank. So other brands have to find a way to mention that brand to actually rank it. And it actually goes into why some of the reciprocal linking and the plugin works well is because sometimes, like if you don't have tools to look at it, you can't see it. But if you have the tools that look at the data, you can actually see, okay, oh, holy shit, this business literally all of the top 20 ranked things, 18 out of the top 20 sites that are their competitors are talking about like that keyword. Now they're clever about it. They're not actually talking about the business itself. They're using other text to get the keywords on page.
It'd be like, give an example if John's Plumbing were that company that was like the huge.
Well, I could say one that we saw. Like one of them, I don't think would affect anyone. That fellowship thing. Like, did you think if we don't name specifics or? So like something like this. Let's take it like this. If you're in a market and there is a brand that has a keyword that is just in there, John's Plumbing. We'll just we'll go back to John's Plumbing.
If it's been there easily.
If it's been there for long enough, if the right environment happens, then
they've got radio ads, they've got TV ads, and they've got all this branded search.
So now John's Plumbing, because for a long time in this town they were the only plumber there, is a part of ranking for plumbing in this town, right? If John's Plumbing is a part of ranking for this town and your new competitors, now it's a big market. There's like 30, 40 plumbers. However that happens, I don't know. Maybe spam. Now that keyword, John's Plumbing Services or whatever gets associated, those engrams get associated with the search. If you don't have it, you're dampening. But you can fake that. You don't have to say John's Plumbing Services and link over there. You could put a review on there that says John got plumbing services, or just John there, or just plumbing, like you would anyways. But if you get John in there, or you say the owner is John, or you have an employee named John did a great job.
John Jacob Jingleheimer Schmidt.
Yeah. Now you're hitting expertise. And that's where that analysis of expertise comes into play for the content, is that regular tools out there will not show you these things. That's why, like, if you grab keyword data out of a keyword tool and just look at that, you're going to throw your clusters off. You're going to throw your on-page off, because you don't know, one, if you just grab keywords and not the URL, you don't know what page is ranking for that keyword. So you might put it in the wrong place on your site. It's actually really, really interesting how much that happens in like local markets, especially. I see it affect GMB ranking all the time. But this article, so we talked about EAT, that was number one. Keywords, I kind of think, okay, so this is the 12 things that are essential for on-page optimization. And I don't think we have an argument about keywords, do we?
Nah.
So when you jump on it, like I'm interested in like your process, because I know you do a lot of the PBN stuff and you're doing a lot of shit in some like larger revenue markets. How are you doing a page? Like, where's the decision-making process in the pages for you, dude? I'm trying to get people to understand like where everyone that's having success is finding out how to start, right? So how do you start when you start a new site? Like, what do you have your staff doing, dude?
So, I think the initial research is really important in mapping out your content. And as I say,
how big of a content map do you build on average? Like, how many pieces of content do you plan ahead? I know you go bigger than most, right?
Yeah. So I would normally, with a project, I don't care. Like, I know content's, a big necessity. And I would potentially throw 5-10 grand at it straight away. I think you've got to hit it hard and stuff like that. But what really is important in this industry is the topical clusters.
It's not even a joke. No, and this is funny because I know where you're going and you're fucking spot on, bro. And it's all visual there too. It's funny.
Someone, a guy that Mike and I have worked with on multiple occasions, hit me up yesterday or today and said, "Do links still work?" I said, yeah.
So you'll throw 10, 20 grand at the content because the cluster you think is like everything you're talking about in an industry is important, right?
Yeah. So I think you've got to do it, but as I say, like, it's laughable for me. This is really simple, but simply just mapping out your kind of topical cluster by cluster. I gave a diagram in my mastermind last week. Let's say it's podcast is the main fucking core topic, and then you've got like mental health podcasts and all the other kind of supporting articles. That is a topical cluster. Do that. Do another one. do another one. Obviously, you're doing your keyword research initially, but figure out those topic clusters.
Yep.
That is so fucking simple, yet seems so difficult.
It's like building Legos or something. First, you need to understand the broad topics that have to be on that to convert a person or that a person wants. Because going back to what I'm talking about, to like the math and the algorithms there, it sounds like, oh, we're just, I'm just doing this topical thing. But if you are missing something important, if we know sometimes a brand can be important to be on someone else's page, if you're missing a full, call it a silo or whatever, you're missing a full silo from that industry, how can you ever hit that EAT thing or be authority or an expert if you don't have that there? So if you don't do that, you're not going to break yourself in the long run, but you're going to make it take a lot longer to get there. And that's why bloggers, they go out and they blog about whatever they want all the time. They say, I'm going to make a site on monkey jacks or something, right? And they go out.
Jacks.
I made it up.
Cereal?
Don't bet the domain. They go out there and they pick one day a topic to write about. Then they go and do a few more, and those kinds go together because they stay on track for the week. But then the next week they pick another topic, but they're reading the same source every day, so that's on their mind. So they write the same article, just a little bit different, and now they've cannibalized. And one thing that we have seen all over the place is when you do it like you're talking about, Craig, if you put, even on a monthly, if you put everything up at once rather than week 1, week 2, or say, I want to post one every day or whatever, if you put it all up at once, and then if you hook in a GMB once that happens too, there's different points where if you put all the information and Google comes and crawls it all because your tech's good, boom, okay, this guy knows what they're talking about. Craig just spent money. They can tell you spent money. There's a lot of content, a lot of pages, and it's the right content. You're not missing shit. Now you're getting a much higher ranking boost than if you just kind of threw up one silo, then another silo, or one article and another article. You are going to get a ranking benefit out of doing it at one time like that, for sure. No questions asked. That's interesting, though, because I think, like you said, I think a lot of people underestimate the importance of pre-planning that.
Yeah. Well, it's funny because how many in the past, and especially recently, how many clients have we had come to us and they're like, we were ranking, but then these new guys came in and they don't have near the amount of links. They don't have near the amount of content that we have. Our site's better, our service is better. We're better in every way. Why are they ranking above us? I was like, probably because they planned much, much better than you. And they just put all of the right content up at the right time.
Yep.
And
they also hit, if you collect this data for what we're talking about, well, if you do that right and you're looking at it right now, you know what you need to do off page as well, right? And so their links.
And the amount of off page that they have to do is vastly smaller than.
What percentage, Craig, or Brad, I know that I can't put a percent on it, but I know when the content is proper, the off page budget is much lower. How would you could you put a percent on how much lower an off page budget is when you have proper on page?
At least 50 to 70% lower.
What's that?
I'd say 50 to 70% lower.
Easy. I would think so. What do you think, dude?
Market dependent, but yeah, I would probably agree with 50%.
It's a big chunk, a huge freaking chunk of budget lower if you do the on page and the like you said, cluster of pages, group of pages right. I would say easy 70%, 60%, I think.
All I'd say is, see if you don't do on page properly, you're going to waste a fuck ton of money buying links. Building links to shit is not going to really push it to the desired. You're not going to get the desired results. And it isn't just about links. You've got to have that content in place before you start to do things. And it's the same with anything. You go to the gym, you don't eat properly, you're going to have no energy to hit the pads or whatever the hell you're doing properly. So you get out.
I hit too hard. I keep fucking up my shoulder. They said, the doctor was looking at my shoulder. He said, I've never seen this amount of torque on one man. He says, please be careful because, although your bone structure is dense, that's a lot of power. He said, no one man should have all this power. Then I woke up.
Yeah.
Dude, it's pretty freaking straightforward once you like. I would say that like it's very easy to see once you've been doing it for a while. I'm sure like all of you both see it like that. But man, at the beginning, dude, like it was mysterious, wasn't it?
It's easy to see, but until you get your wits about you on a new campaign. So you enter a new campaign and you're like, you still feel that feeling of overwhelm. And I think a lot of people don't realize that. Even if you've been doing it for a while, you're like, oh fuck, where do I start? And you're like,
I'm always surprised when shit ranks, bro.
Yeah, especially like it. Remember when we were pumping out the mass page sites, like filling up servers quick, and we're like, as soon as you turn on the cloaking, like we had to create bots so it would just sit there, the bot would cloak these sites, because there was no way in fuck that we could go in and do all of these sites ourselves. So we just had like a spreadsheet that we would upload and cloak. But it was amazing. As soon as you turn on the cloaking, it was like instant calls, like every single time. We're like, every time, I can't believe this fucking works.
You know, and mosaic shit, like so this thing we're going to be doing. Actually, we can go that. Let's go that. Let's answer some of the questions that are there, dude. I don't want to just take your time. Your opinion about the accuracy of Google Analytics 4 compared to the old one. I get massive differences on basic data. What other platforms do you use to track and compare?
I primarily just use Search Console, Ahrefs, whatever. It's all you're comparing.
I'm drawing a blank right now, but what you want to be doing is you really want to be using, like, if you're really concerned about what like deep data, you need to be seeing the queries and stuff that are coming in. You need to be collecting data from like URLs that are coming in, and really kind of pulling that out. And I'm blanking what we're using right now for all the networks. I will say it on the next webinar if I can remember to pull it. But there are, what is it? I know it's in my sheet. I'm not going to do it right now, but there are, go out and look for third-party analytics. Like there are even plugins for WordPress that will do it, where it will collect like the actual encrypted data that is coming in. You can see that data for the URLs, and that's where you want to get to, because that can help you analyze later on. I don't really care about the difference because I don't trust the data that I get anyways, because even in console, I can see the difference of what I'm getting from them and what's really happening on a lot of stuff. So I would not concern myself too much, but if there's a reason to collect deeper data, go do your searches on third-party platforms, and pull some of that. And I'll try to get the name of what we're using for our networks right now out for you guys. But sorry, don't remember.
I've got a question for Brad.
That is a cactus.
How the fuck are you going to cope when I punch you right in the fucking nose? Nah, I'm only kidding. Now, you've obviously been playing around with the Fiverr gigs and stuff. Have you pointed some links to some shit-ass content, and does it still rank?
I'll test it, but I have not. Not like from that. Yeah, I can throw up something shitty in order. I actually bought it was almost $1,000, one gig, but it's pushing, so I don't care. But it was, I wouldn't call them shitty links, but it's links you look at it, you're like, is that gonna work? You know, they're starting to pop up in Ahrefs and shit. They're working. So
that's why it's like that spam score stuff we were talking about is just not that. You just can't concern yourself with that stuff. You need to understand and do the right thing for those pages.
Well, it's funny because it's like, when's the last time you thought to do EDU link building and shit like that? And like that's part of what they're doing and shit. Yeah. It's like a 30-day gig or whatever. We'll see how it goes.
So you're buying all that shit up?
I spent like a couple grand in Fiverr gigs in the past month. Yeah, just testing. I found some really good shit though. Like one gig that I would not, if you want to have like a sell display advertising, or I mean, I'd have to look through Otis to see what kind of domains they have. But I, no shit, would just get an Otis domain that seems decent, or a drop catch domain, or anything like that has a decent amount of links. Even like a GoDaddy auction if it's clean. I would throw this Fiverr gig on it and just let it run.
Do you know what?
Are you talking about the one we did on the one or a different one?
Yeah.
Oh, no, it's really funny because the associations of what platform it drives with versus like what started ranking like within a day or two.
Yeah. Not just, we're not just getting impressions on the new content. That's not where all the impressions are coming from. We're getting more impressions on the content that has been there for, I would say, at least 8 to 10 months.
I'm going to remove the one thing today, and if it actually does boost even more, we'll just let dude know, because honestly, that'll just make his gig better. And if he can do it,
he just did that because it looked better.
No, well, here's the thing: like the way he did it, he's on point for the topic, he's on point for the authority, expertise, whatever the hell you want to call that. So it just brought in more of that association and synergize with what the Otis domain does, right? So yeah, it's super solid.
It's pretty funny, yeah.
But yeah, it's kind of funny because we don't like plan what we're going to talk about, but when you went to like launching all the content at once, spending 10,000 or 20,000 on the content, I really always find it funny where everyone goes and is actually having success. It's always pretty much the similar thing that's working for everyone, and it always amazes me. It's like when things rank, I always get excited. When everyone comes to the same conclusion, I get excited, and I think what
else excites you, Mike?
You're not going to be here next week, right, Brad? Correct. So the week after, I think we'll have an announcement about this kind of stuff, and start talking about some of this and maybe getting some more info out to people. But are there any more questions? Did we miss any questions?
Still got 9 minutes, baby.
Statements, not questions. Let's see what else is essential on page. SEO writing, it says emphasize readability, don't overuse keywords, keep sentences and paragraphs brief.
Yeah, what do you think about that? Because if you're looking at like just like a basic SEO plugin, they'll ding you for having a paragraph that's too long or a sentence that's too long.
I think that's more about SEO usage than anything else. Yeah. But there's a caveat to that. What I have noticed when people start going too long in their content and they start adding in the wrong like keywords for the topic and stuff because they're writing naturally and it just keeps going on and on and on, I've seen trouble from overwriting because you can like throw off the optimization.
Too much content.
I don't think like the associations of, oh, this needs to be 1,000 words or this needs to be this many, or this needs to be this length, and the paragraphs need to be this length. You just need to be optimized properly, and sometimes they correlate to each other, not necessarily the cause of it, right? I mean, like it's not really. People go and they make content that's too long that really doesn't have a need to be written, and then when they fix that, they rank better because it's more concise. So. Roundabout way, I think so. What do you think, Craig? I mean, that's just my opinion.
I think if you can say something in 800 words, then why would you pad it out to be 3,000 words? You know, that's the thing. No one, and I mean no one in this fucking planet needs or wants to read more than you have to. So if you're looking for something, I think as long as you've got, because a lot of people obsess over, you know, so-and-so says every article has to be 2,500 words long. That's bullshit. You know, that is the problem. I think you have to use common sense when it comes to this. If you can say everything you need to cover on a specific topic in 800 words, 900 words, or whatever it's going to be, then so be it. There's a lot of waffle out there, whether it be on YouTube, people talking a lot of waffle, or blog posts. We need to cut the waffle out. That is
cut the waffle out. That's the name of today's episode.
The word you say, Mike, make it concise. That's all you need to do. You do not need to do any more than that.
Well, yeah, if you think about it, like if you go back to like Kyle ranking with Lorem Ipsum and stuff and having the optimization points there, at some point they might have a check where this content's too short to contain this much information, so they're stuffing keywords. That makes sense. But if you're getting everything written out, like, and actually giving the information in a human readable manner, yeah, you do not need to worry about that for sure. It's definitely, I think it's better to, people are like talking about the length of these articles, but they're not talking about like what the article's talking about. I think that's a big disservice if someone is saying, look at this, rather than saying, okay, this is, maybe all of these are similar in length, but they're all talking about the same thing. And that's why they're ranking, not because they're the similar length. They have the same fucking keywords on the page at the end of the day, right? And so I think it shifts. I think that there's so much data you can worry about in SEO that people kind of lose focus on actually what really matters, dude, which is not that much shit, right? At the end of the day. So I don't know. It's interesting.
In the end,
thing. It's common
Nothing
sense.
really matters.
Nothing really matters, exactly. But nah, common sense, people lack severely. Just take yourself out of being an SEO and just think about things sensibly.
Use subheadings and use bulleted lists. Subheadings, I absolutely can
agree. What about tables?
I actually think that when you diversify the HTML because of what's going on and the way stuff and data is like displayed in an academic way, that there are some things that they look at that makes them think, okay, this might be.
I mean, in casino, you'll have a table on every fucking page.
Absolutely. No, absolutely. Like depending on the markets you're in, like
yeah.
If you're in a market and things happen a certain way, that is something to pay attention to, but it doesn't mean it translates to the next market. So SERP by SERP, you know, always SERP by SERP. So.
And there's a big difference between local and national too.
Yeah, very much so. Visual assets is number 4. Using images, videos, and infographics do more than make your page interesting. It also gives opportunities to boost your SEO. So I'm going to say that that's absolutely important to use different types of media in your content. I think you have to at this point if you want to be competitive.
I mean, even if you're just using something basic like Surfer to optimize, I mean, it's going to have you add media just anyway. So
a perfect example is the way search works on a phone, dude. Like if you pull an image up and you search for an image, you can add text to it. If they're starting to search with multimedia, you should be making your pages associate like that. And we can go back years and see the text to image associations or the text to video associations and the strengthening of pages in markets that allowed additional revenue because images were added. And now that data has been taken and updated and rolled into the way their functionality works. Like it's not like if you're paying attention as they move forward, it works. Wicked pointed out to me the other, like maybe a couple weeks ago.
He points out to me every time I let a domain expire.
I know, it's kind of funny.
I let NFG expire one day, and I was like, "Oh fuck!"
So he pointed out that they took down the Vision API, and it was down for a bit. They were not allowing any like entity-based API search and shit. And when it came back, the recognition was different. And then the core update starts rolling out. Certain things changed with image search. Like it's not hard to see what they're doing with these core updates if you're looking everywhere and have other people looking in places and you're kind of coming back and forth. They kind of mention it like when they talked about the product review update, they talk about adding additional information while they're updating imagery shit, video shit, the way they understand copy. If they're saying add additional information, they're saying, and they're updating all this multimedia stuff, connect the dots and start adding that there and coming back from where you were. And you see everyone doing it. It's like the recipe example.
I hate that.
They're a perfect example of that shit.
I do like the good ones add the hop link. They're like, here, click this to get what you really want. You go down the bottom of the page.
Absolutely. And that is a market where I have to go, actually need to go look again and see if they tweaked out the way they're doing their code. Because if they tweak their hop link code, then that's something seriously to pay attention to.
Those guys are real SEOs.
They're on it. Yeah, they're on it.
But
yeah, I want to be a real SEO.
Yeah.
We did it.
We did it.
We made
it. Got to fake it till you make it, though.
Every day.
I just meant the time.
I just made it to noon without drinking. Are we still on?
I love live, like Live RL comes on and just ignores everything we're talking about and continuously talks about how people get paid on YouTube, dude.
That's awesome.
I freaking love it. I love the mind there.
Can you look up like where people are posting on YouTube and shit? Like, can we see whose channels he's posting to?
Yeah, we could do it. We could scrape and there's some ways to get it. We should go.
Curious. I don't want to know if he's copying and pasting.
I do not believe that is what he uses anywhere.
Yeah.
Even on YouTube.
Well, if you want to be a fake SEO, I've got a course to sell you. We should come out with a course, how to be a fake SEO. It's just a joke. And the first video is like, you just paid us $27.
Okay, so I did find like the only video I can find inside of YouTube is in either Vietnamese, dude. It's got to be Vietnamese. Let me see, because he keeps talking about the phone.
Yeah,
I might be on who dude is actually. I don't
this
know.
is ERP.
Let's see. It is
Anton. I have got your email, Anton, in case you're looking to chase me.
He is literally commenting on videos that are in Vietnamese about YouTube viewers, dude.
Really?
You reckon you know who he is?
No, I don't know who he is, but now I know why he talks about Vietnamese phone farms, dude.
I mean, he's obsessed. He is absolutely obsessed.
I want to know who he is. I want to know who he is, and I want to see what he's doing, because he's a mystery to me.
I want to know if you're buying Bitcoin right now, Mike.
Am I buying Bitcoin now? Are you?
No.
It's not something to come through that's going to go to whatever.
They're bottoming right now.
Yeah. No, I'm good, dude.
You sure? How about Litecoin?
Yeah, it's still there, bro.
Yeah, I converted mine.
I don't even know what it's at, dude.
I don't want to know.
Get money back though. At one point.
At one point, it's gone now.
But...
Fuck that shit, guys.
You don't do any crypto trading?
I've done it. I've been. I got in 2017. Got in at $4,000, sold out at 14, shit my pants, wet the bed, ran away with my money.
Yep,
seen it go up to 16, 17, then saw the crack, and I'm like, nah, I ain't touching this shit.
Dude, I had an opportunity to go in real fucking early, dude, at like $12, dude. And the guys that told me to go in, they don't work anymore. Should have listened.
Wow.
Dude, honest to God, I'll tell you a quick story before we go, right? So I was in Dubai a few months ago, and this girl who works for SE Ranking was talking to me and all that shit. She's like, yeah, can I come and have a few beers and all that stuff? Like, yeah. And she's like, I'll drive you down to the next party where we're going to. So we went down to the hotel, and the valet was going to get her car, and we were all joking that it was going to be a Toyota Yaris. Anyway, I said,
that's what I drive.
Please tell me it's a fucking Ferrari or something. And she went, not quite, but I think you'll be impressed. Anyway, the fucking valet brings a Lamborghini Urus, bright yellow over. And I'm like, dude, what are you... Well, it was a female. I went, what the fuck are you doing? Like, whose is this car? Did you rent it? She's like, nah, my boyfriend, he's a crypto fucking billionaire. I just work for the sheer fucking fun of it, man. She just works for a laugh.
Dude,
I find a sugar daddy like that.
The dude I know that made the most off of Bitcoin was a fucking badass black cat, dude. But it took him not very long to stop doing SEO after he hit. So I should have listened. It was the stupidest mistake I have made. Well,
I was looking at it. I remember I still had a day job, and it was like, Bitcoin was at 500, but it would be like 500, 1,000, 500, 1,000. Yeah. So it's not as early as like $12 or anything. But
it was literally like it was the stupidest. It was one.
Mark Cuban got in early.
I did do something else with the same investment capital that, you know, it made money for a little while, but nothing like fucking that would have done. But that's life. It happens. We all make mistakes, right? More some others than others, right? Me.
Others and others and others.
All right.
We were in this bitch.
Yes. We are finished, guys. We will be back at the same time next week.
Same bad channel.
Hopefully see you then, guys. See you later on.
I'll see you then. Bye.